Does Joshua Zirkzee make sense to Manchester United? Today we're going to analyse the transfer. We're also going to take a look at the player's strengths, weaknesses and areas of his game that he can improve, and then answer the question, does this transfer make sense? Do Manchester United need two number 9s, Rasmus Højlund and Joshua Zirkzee? Find out later on to see whether they can fit in the same system and formation under Erik ten Hag. I'm of course Statman Dave. Subscribe if you are new around here. Anyway, let's get this party started. Joshua Zirkzee is a very technical, deep-lying forward. He likes to drop off the line to receive and attack in midfield areas. He's a great ball manipulator and can send defenders with his first touch. He likes to turn and carry or bring in advanced teammates into play. Zirkzee is a very switched on forward who uses awareness and first touch to beat an opponent even before receiving the ball. This makes him a really good link player who can receive in any area. While Zirkzee can be direct, he can make good decisions when the simple pass is the right one. Zirkzee doesn't just drop off the line in build-up but also comes off the line after progression. Not only does he have the ability to play short and find through balls, but he's an adept switcher of play, which can give his team another dimension in the final third. This example against Atalanta really highlights Zirkzee's link play and how involved the Dutchman can be in a move. First, he becomes an option for central progression with clever movement, creating separation with the centre-back. His first touch instantly kills the ball, whilst his second allows him to escape the two-man pressure, getting his team into the final third. As much as Zirkzee isn't involved on the ball here, his off-the-ball movement moves a defender away from that zone. He then appears uninterested before orientating himself towards the ball, then springing away from the defender, creating space to receive. This gives him time to spot Makers and find him with a flick. The rest is all about Zirkzee's ball manipulation and quality. His first touch shifts the defenders to open a passing lane for the 1-2, whilst his next touch draws the remaining defenders before releasing his teammate. This replay really highlights Zirkzee's quality in tight spaces, as his ball manipulation, passing and first touch creates a high quality chance. Receiving off the line is one of his biggest strengths, but Zirkzee is a dribbling forward who also likes to attack the channels. He actually made more dribbles per 90 in Serie A last season than any other striker. What makes Zirkzee such a good dribbler is his balance. Even when dribbling at speed, his balance allows him to accelerate and decelerate to quickly change directions, making him very difficult for defenders to stop. Good acceleration with reasonable pace, Zirkzee will slow himself down before acting, which allows him to execute passes and turns well. What separates Zirkzee from a true false 9 is that the Dutchman actually has the ability to hold up the ball well. As much as Zirkzee hasn't fully developed physically yet, the Dutchman's exceptional technique and close control allows him to effectively hold up the ball. This clip is ridiculous, first killing a 40-yard clearance and bringing it under control with his studs, all whilst having his shirt tugged by the defender. This allows him to roll over the ball, nutmeg the covering midfielder with his left foot before calmly releasing the ball to a teammate. Meanwhile, this next example highlights the duality of Joshua Zirkzee, once again bringing down a long clearance from a teammate and getting it under control despite being under pressure. He then releases the ball to a teammate before spinning into attacking midfield to become a ball option. Whilst this movement might not seem like much, Zirkzee's inside movement has actually opened up a lane to Makers, giving the defender a much needed forward passing option. Even further, this movement allows Makers to lay the ball off to Zirkzee. From here, Zirkzee commits the right centre-back before carrying inside, decelerating and allowing him to turn back on himself and opening up the pitch. With Lewis Ferguson now in the space of the committed centre-back, Zirkzee finds him with a well-weighted pass into the penalty area. Joshua Zirkzee's profile is really interesting. At times he's more of a number 10, playing as a centre forward. He's a creative passer that's got the vision but also the awareness to find his teammates in the final third and the execution to pull off these passes, a skill set that is very rare amongst centre forwards. The next clip really highlights this. With Zirkzee receiving in the box, you'd expect most strikers to get a shot off, but the Dutchman knows the right winger is in a better position. So what does he do? He finds him with a Bruno Fernandes styled pass. This time, Zirkzee simply rolls a defender without taking a touch and carries towards goal. Instead of playing the obvious pass to Orsolini, Zirkzee finds Ndoye with a perfect backheel without breaking stride. This is true number 10 vision and awareness, as the last time he saw Ndoye was before he'd even rolled the defender. And finally, Zirkzee takes up a natural attacking midfield position and receives in between the lines. Zirkzee doesn't just find Ferguson, but he hits the ball so perfectly that his teammate doesn't need to break stride to finish first time. So we've talked about Zirkzee's creativity, but what about his goal scoring? First, we're going to take a look at his movement in the penalty area when the ball's wide. In the penalty area, Zirkzee tends to attack the penalty spot when the ball's wide. He'll do this by moving away from the defender, standing still and letting the space form around him, or by arriving late and running onto the ball. However, as seen by his open play shot map, Zirkzee rarely attacks the 6-yard box, furthering the idea that he's an attacking midfielder playing as a striker, attacking the box as a secondary target. The odd time that he's attacked the near post this season, Zirkzee is shown to be good at creating separation for shots by exploding from a standing start. Another big way for Zirkzee to generate shots comes from his ability to manipulate the ball with a dribble. In fact, a whopping 35% of Zirkzee's shots last season came following a carry or dribble, the most amongst Premier League or Serie A strikers last season. As we've mentioned, Zirkzee likes to drop off the line to link the play, but once the ball is worked into the wide area, the Dutchman will attack the box, often not as the primary threat but as a secondary option instead. Zirkzee comes alive in the penalty area, often using his toolbox of skills like here, where he uses trademark drag back to get a shot on goal. In the final third, Zirkzee frequently uses fake shots to sell defenders. When receiving in the box, his excellent balance and two-footedness make him very difficult to stop. Zirkzee is an excellent option into feet, and when he's found, the Dutchman frequently connects with the other attackers. But he's tactically pretty aware too, and whilst he likes to attack the penalty spot, Zirkzee will attack the channels if that's where the space is. This clip not only shows his quick feet and dribbling, but also his tenacity and fight to regain the ball off the centre-back. Once again, we see Zirkzee holding the ball up, shifting it and attacking the channel. This time he takes an early shot with his weaker left foot, catching the goalkeeper out. Zirkzee takes a surprising amount of shots from this area, and he's pretty good with his weaker left foot, but at times he could look for a supporting teammate. That being said, against Cagliari, Zirkzee makes the right call. As a goal scorer, Zirkzee is developing and still needs work, but he does have good instincts and has shown he can score scrappy goals from rebounds. Even before the initial shot is taken, Zirkzee is the only player who's gambling on the rebound. This gives him the jump for an easy tap-in, a classic goal scored by a number 9. The other requirement for a top-level number 9 is defensive positioning and awareness. Zirkzee's not on the level of a Carlos Tevez or Roberto Firmino, but he tactically understands where he needs to be. Here we see Bologna collapse over to the left-hand side of the pitch, with Zirkzee closing the centre-back. He then reads the pass back to the keeper, takes one touch to beat him and finishes with his left foot. That being said, Joshua Zirkzee isn't the finished article and could still improve. Whilst his attacking movement is good, Zirkzee could still improve his finishing and decision making in the box. Here against Empoli, he shows great speed and determination to support the counter-attack, but lacks conviction and disguise in the finish. At 6'4", Zirkzee could be a bigger threat in the box. At senior level, Zirkzee's taken only 16 shots with his head and is yet to score in league football. When challenging for headers, he can look unbalanced, but he also needs to work on the timing of his jumps as well as the direction and power of his headed shot when he does connect. And this is an area of big goal scoring potential that Zirkzee is currently missing out on, considering his movement off the ball improving his heading could lead to a lot of goals. Due to Zirkzee's tendency to find space in between the lines, the Dutchman gets a lot of opportunities to shoot from range, but there's still work to be done. His shots do lack conviction, but he would benefit from variation. Shots into the top corners, curlers and dippers would all add different threats to Zirkzee's game, but almost all of his shots from range are hit low without much power. He also can make bad decisions in these areas, ignoring passing options to teammates in space or who are simply in better positions, which is disappointing considering his awareness inside the box. What's frustrating is that we've seen Zirkzee make the right decisions. In Bologna's 2-1 win away at Lazio, Zirkzee had two similar situations with two very different outcomes. The first, Zirkzee receives inside, rolls away from the defensive midfielder, which gives him the opportunity to shoot on goal. But with 5 Lazio bodies drawn to him, Zirkzee would have created a much better opportunity if he had spread the play to the right and got himself into the box. Instead, he took a shot on goal which didn't trouble the keeper at all. Meanwhile, in the second example, Zirkzee again receives inside and draws 3 Lazio players to him. But this time he releases the left back with a reverse pass, before running off the midfield and finishing by the penalty spot with a sweet right-footed volley. Zirkzee has a knack of arriving late into the box untracked, and if he can do this more frequently, he'll become a much better player who scores a lot more goals. So does Joshua Zirkzee to Manchester United actually make sense? We've had a look at his strengths, his weaknesses and areas that he can improve. For Manchester United, the big level of improvement would come from a player dropping off the line and receiving to feet in those high areas, arguably creating a kind of 4-2-4 structure that we saw at the back end of the season versus the likes of Manchester City and Arsenal. With Zirkzee's ability to receive in between the lines and ship the ball to teammates, you're going to see more possession in higher areas for the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Garnacho and Amad Diallo. I think from that possession perspective it makes a lot of sense having someone like Zirkzee in the squad. A very different option to Rasmus Højlund. Not only that, is we're likely to see more from the wingers, more goals from the left winger and the right winger. And in this sense we could see them narrow a little bit and the outside players being the 2 wing backs in the final third. Of course it being asymmetrical in a sense of 1 wing back going and 1 wing back holding. But Zirkzee's ability to receive possession in these advanced areas, hold off the opponent before shipping it to a more creative teammate, could allow positions with Bruno Fernandes playing through balls to both the left winger and the right winger in behind the opposition's defence, making Man United actually good in the transition. I think the possession plays a big thing, but also when you're looking at the 2 forwards, Rasmus Højlund is very different to someone like Joshua Zirkzee. In a sense, he's a channel runner. He's a player that likes to get in behind the defence. He's a dribbler. So actually playing both of them together might not be a bad option. Again, United would need to work out the balance at the back, be it Bruno Fernandes maybe operating wide or operating deep. It would basically be like an old school partnership of one of the forwards being a deep lying forward coming off the line in Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund being an advanced forward looking to attack the channels and get behind the opponents. But that link up together kind of works out for both players. One of the big things with Rasmus Højlund last season is United simply didn't work the ball to him. The statistics were atrocious. There were passes where Man United's wingers were passing the ball more to Andre Onana than Rasmus Højlund. Zirkzee being this link player that we've analysed, we've looked at his touches, ability to play through, would be quite important. His movement off the line, being able to receive to feet, would create a link to Rasmus Højlund, which would mean more goals. United moving to maybe this kind of 4-4-2 structure, playing 2 strikers, 1 deep lying, 1 high, is kind of classic. It's what we expect from a United team of old. You know, a Wayne Rooney, Robin van Persie, a Wayne Rooney, Javier Hernandez. One player that's going to come deep, act as a number 10, the other one staying high. Again, the same thing we mentioned before. The danger from the wingers would still be there, with the opponents maybe following Zirkzee deep to receive in that 10 area. There's going to be space for them to cut inside and make those runs behind the defence. Alternatively, what you could see with Manchester United, if it's not going to go down the line of Bruno Fernandes playing kind of deep in midfield, but we could see either forward playing wide. Joshua Zirkzee, of course, has experience playing as a left winger, operating as an inside forward in that channel. I think if he does play in that position, a lot of width needs to come from Luke Shaw. What I quite like the idea of, though, is actually Rasmus Højlund playing, wide, maybe on that right hand side. We know that he's left footed, he can cut in, he's got the pace, he's very, very good on the dribble. He's almost like a classic inside forward. Of course, United would have to work out the balance of the team, be it a true defensive midfielder coming back into the team and someone like Bruno Fernandes operating as a number 10, having Garnacho operating as a natural inverted winger. A Zirkzee, Højlund coming from the right wing as an inside forward would work. It would open up space for the right back, Diogo Dalot to operate wide and become that wide option, giving United a lot of difference. I think the signing of Joshua Zirkzee is good. I'm a big fan of Ethan Wheatley. I think he's a top player coming through the academy that's got a similar skill set to Joshua Zirkzee. But if United want to maybe send him on loan for a season, signing Joshua Zirkzee for £35 million is an absolute bargain for a player that's got really good quality. It's got a quite unique profile. As we mentioned before, he's more of a number 10, playing as a striker that could allow him to get the ball into feet. This would create some interesting shapes for United, with Højlund running in from that right wing to finish on goal. We've got two creative players in Bruno and Zirkzee. You've got the width from Diogo Dalot and Garnacho on the flanks. It makes a lot of sense for me for United to snap up Joshua Zirkzee. The price is just too good for a player that could get better and better. We mentioned his improvements in his heading, in his finishing, in his decision making. There's a lot where he could really evolve in, hence why there's quite a lot of excitement around him in European football. Arsenal are interested, AC Milan are interested. Whenever you look at a player that AC Milan are interested in European football, they're usually very good. We've watched a lot of Zirkzee at Bologna, and I think at Manchester United he'd be a massive success. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Get into the comments below. Does Manchester United making a move for Dutchman Joshua Zirkzee make sense in the summer transfer window? I've been Statman Dave. Get into the comments below what you think, and we'll see you next time. See you later.
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel?